all parts affect your whole. What does that mean? It means like all parts of your life affect how you show up or don't show up in certain areas. The way you self-sabotage, what's in your way, whether it's mental, somatic, like in the body, in the emotional body, energetic, just in your field, like in the vibes you're picking up or not picking up on, relational. So like whether it's the dynamics of how you show up in your family system, in your or just in your work, or like the different systems set up where you show up with people. All parts affect the whole. So if you have a devotional contract, for instance, with a certain family member, say your auntie, and you know you need to show up in a certain way to stay in love and belonging with your auntie, then you're going to keep your system, even if it's completely subconscious, even if this pattern was learnt when you were 4 years old, it's going to keep showing up in that way because that is the way it knows to stay in love and belonging and thus survive, because we needed those older caregivers to look after us when we were that young. So it literally staying with love and belonging and having them then choose to care for you because you're so lovable is how we survive when we're younger. And we don't often notice those beliefs still coming up when we are grown adults capable of providing for ourselves, looking after ourselves. We don't update our beliefs as to how we show up, or what's survivable for us. And so our brain just is doing an amazing job of making sure that, you know, we stay alive, and it follows those beliefs to the T, to our own detriment. So those parts of us that are lovingly looking after us by staying in this devotional contract with your auntie, for instance, maybe it's that you're not allowed to hold money. You just have to go and spend it immediately. Otherwise, you know, you get judged for it. Or you don't even want to, maybe you started breaking out of it, but you just don't tell this person anymore because you know they won't approve. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's that you spend money and you're supposed to hold on to it, just like squirrel it away. Whatever the devotional contract is. Like, I mean, our key ones really are going to be with our parents, our guardians, but also, you know, our brothers, sisters, especially if they're older, or, you know, took more responsibility on. There's going to be all sorts of dynamics playing there. And so, yeah, that's just talking very basically over relational energetics and family systems, which is one part of the whole. Then there's also the mindset stuff. How much is the subconscious? I mean, that also, all parts affect the whole. So, like, I talked about how our subconscious is running those devotional contracts, for instance. And then we've got, what's sitting in our body? What's the felt feeling that we have when a certain thing comes up for us that is maybe blocking us? Like every time we go to take action on that thing that we really want to do, we just have this like, maybe this tightening in our chest that has it feel unsafe to go for. Well, it's no surprise that so many of us sabotage ourselves because our subconscious is operating off outdated beliefs, that beliefs we need to operate by, like as creed, because otherwise we won't survive. But here's the thing. There are many other ways to survive certain situations. And we just need to lovingly teach our younger selves, our younger parts, that there are so many ways for us to still survive, but also get what we want out of our one wild and precious life. And And then it's noticing also just like the atmospheres you're putting yourself in. So that's all part of energetics. Like what you perceive in the world, what you're seeing, what shows up for you is a reflection of what's going on internally for you. So yeah, really all parts do affect the whole, and that's why holistic coaching is we've got to consider all parts, because we can focus in on something that's going on with the mind and the mindset, but if there's some part of your body that doesn't feel safe to take action towards that, and it's like a stuck emotion, maybe it's like stored years and years of extra loving around your belly, because that's how it keeps you safe. Because if you have that extra loving, it's a very wholesome way to say it, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but yeah, if you have that extra layer, it's like a way to guard yourself from feeling I mean, honestly, insert thing here, because it depends what younger you, probably between the ages of 4 and 7, made up to be a belief that you needed to survive by. And because your brain then searches for that, keeps finding versions of it, and keeps finding similar situations, and every time a situation that feels the same as the first instance comes up, it just tells you that, well, that's just like that other time, and then it distorts and generalizes it into, and so basically the same thing, even though every situation is actually different, even if it's only by nuance. There are many ways that we can self-sabotage ourselves, because we are just operating off these hyper-stabilized beliefs of these younger versions of ourselves that we're just doing a good job of making sure we survived. So really, it's all from a loving place. It's all beautiful. But we've got to talk to like all the, but it's just it is life. It's an ongoing conversation with your parts. So parts work is a part of neurolinguistics programming, which is the mindset stuff. But your parts can also, you could have an emotional part that really you don't know how to speak words to it or describe it. You just have this feeling of, oh, it holds on to that. And I guess a good way to talk about this is, if you've ever seen the movie, Pixar movie Inside Out, and they've got the different emotions in the main character's brain, and they've got joy, and they've got anger and disgust, and I think envy, and then sadness. I mean, I really enjoy Sadness's character, because Sadness, she just can't help herself. She just sneaks in there, and she'll touch the memories, which are these beautiful balls, memory balls, kind of like a crystal ball. And, you know, Joy will be trying so hard to keep everything joyful, and then she'll just touch one of those balls, and it will just turn blue and become sad. But like there'll be some sadness, like maybe there's parts of sadness stuck in someone's belly, maybe, and it's just a feeling, and she doesn't really know why she's doing it. She's just like, oh no, I touched another memory. Oh, that's so sad. Look, I hope I'm not jumping around so much that it's not making any sense, but my point is, we have these stuck emotions in our body, as well as these stuck patterns in our mind, as well as stuck energetics or stuck atmospheres around us, environments that we show up in, stuck dynamics at our workplace or in our family system or in our friendship groups. All parts affect the whole. And so you might do really well at healing the mindset stuff, but keep tripping over the emotional body stuff. They're not feeling your feelings, or the relational stuff. Maybe you've been doing really well with your mindset, but then as soon as you're back in that family system, where I don't know, your Maybe you're the responsible one and you're supposed to take on all the responsibility, and if you leave that environment, you're able to put that down and say no. But you're back in that environment and suddenly, you find yourself taking on all this responsibility again. Maybe you complain about it, but then you feel like kind of righteous, like, oh yeah, I knew this would happen anyway, and I'll just do it because I'm the only capable one. But then you're also not allowing anyone to learn to step up. So what would happen if you actually drop those responsibilities they always expect of you? I mean, that's just one tangent of how things might happen. But there's just so much to us as whole human beings. So if something's working in one spectrum, but then you keep pinging back and you're getting closer and you're getting closer, but then you ping back again, well, maybe it's just a different part of you need to feel into, different part of coaching. And so that's why I'm so passionate and excited to be a whole coach, where we talk into all these different things. And I mean, I can't even share them all. And also I don't need to. Like, there is, as long as, I can hold space for you, whether it's one-on-one or one-on-many, like right now, I know that I can hold space to ask you good questions that you can ask yourself. Keep to yourself completely if you want to. Though if you are even on a one-on-one or one-on-group conversation with me in person or even on a webinar, please take the opportunity to share what's going on for you, because there might be things you didn't know that if I actually help you dive deeper and you share the answers to those questions, we can actually together help figure out what's your map, what's your internal map that has you showing up in the way you do, but also has you have the blocks that you currently do, and how can we bring those to conscious light so that you can notice them when they come up, instead of being like, oh God, I can't do this feeling again, I feel triggered. Can we just notice, oh, there's my trigger coming up, okay, this feels very uncomfortable. Take a deep breath. Exhale longer than we inhaled. Just that exhaling longer than we inhaled, ideally a few times, a few magic breaths. That tells our parasympathetic nervous system, our somatics, that we are not actively running from a predator, so we are safe. And that just reminds us, so we knew this was going to come up when I feel triggered by this certain thing, and then I self-sabotage what I actually truly want. Okay, can I notice this with curiosity? Can I then choose to act differently? Even if it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny millimeter of difference. Can we feel the uncomfortable feelings and take that small action anyway? Even if it's just one tiny step in that direction that feels like mammoth to you, maybe. Can we do that with curiosity? Again, curiosity is our friend. It just makes life more fun too, personally. I think so, anyway. But it's also, can we get curious when we're triggered? Well, where's that coming up for me? Where in my body is that sitting? Where in my mind? Who's coming to my mind? Who's speaking, living rent-free in my mind, telling me X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z? Is what they're saying true? If this is a real person that you're still in touch with, still see on a regular basis, does current them actually say that? Actually think that? Or could it be true that they don't even think or say that? You just have this version of them from 10 years ago that you felt like would have said that may not have even actually said that. Maybe it's oh, you're not worthy of getting that thing that you really want. Maybe they do think you're worthy and they're like, oh yeah, I can't wait for her to get it, but they just don't share that with you because they just assume that you already know. Or maybe they are an asshole and maybe they don't think you're worthy, but If they're going to be that much of an arsehole, then, well, they're probably not worthy of being in your life. And I dare say, you're worthy no matter what, and it's not up to them. And you need to choose that for yourself. You are worthy no matter what. I truly believe that. But the more you believe it yourself, that's where you get to live your life lit up. You get to play with your life, be curious about your triggers, and then move through them to actually get what you want out of life and move past those blocks and live with your wholeness. And don't, put masks on to shut yourself out because you don't think your wholeness is allowed. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I feel like ADHD brain, I do tend to go down many trains at once. So leave me a comment if anything didn't make sense. And if I feel like there's anything I can clarify further tomorrow, I will. Okay, much love. See you tomorrow.